everyone. Hope everything is going well your way. This is take two of this lecture. I just lost a 42-minute lecture, so I'm really praying that this one sticks and you can see it. So I hope that your week is going well and you are getting your feet on the ground with the work you're going to be doing this semester in each of your classes and are kind of getting things under your belt a little bit as you begin this semester. Welcome back to the speech class. I am going to be doing a few topics for you that I hope will help to lay the groundwork for you in this class this semester. Today and in this video, I'm really going to try to overview public speaking for you and go through the different parts of speech and the types of speeches, most of which you will be practicing in this class, but some that you'll know about just in life in general. So again, we'll look through an overview of public speaking itself, the parts of speech and the different types of speeches. Also in this video, I want to go through the you speech, the specifics for it, with hopefully some explanation and clarification of some things. And I want to end by giving you some delivery tips that I hope would be of help to you, beginning with the you speech and going then on through the rest of the course. If I don't hit every one of them, I'm hoping that I will have a chance, and I should, to provide you with some more videos throughout the semester that might be then of a more specific or better help to you. Also, if I have not mentioned, please get on the Band app. Follow the directions that I've given you in my welcome and look to that panel on the left in the announcements area to go ahead and get that screenshot or just put your camera over the barcode in order to, or it's not a barcode, but anyway, the QR code in order to get onto the app. We'll be practicing these things as well on the app as I give you some of the topics and questions. It's really more of a fun time. I'm hoping for you to use your phones and to get on there and be able to practice some of the more simple and fun types of speaking there in that app. And we'll talk more about that potentially as we go along in the video as well a little bit. I want to start out with an overview of public speaking. And what we're going to look at are the parts of a speech. And really, this is in any speech you will hear, whether it's at work, at church, in any seminar you go to, you will hear these parts of speech throughout those different areas. And the parts of speech we're going to talk about are the introduction first, the body of the speech, and the conclusion of the speech. So those three things will be found in every public speech you listen to. And they're a good roadmap for any public speech. It helps your audience and it also helps you to understand those three parts of the speech and stay closely aligned with every part as you go through. And that really will make your speech very logical, easy to follow, and more memorable as well. So, these three main parts of any speech you will give are the introduction first. And in the introduction, your whole goal is to gain the attention of your audience, whoever that may be. And really, what you're going to do is orient or focus your listeners to your topic, to the topic that you're trying to present, and then prepare them for what they're going to be hearing in the body of the speech. So, in order to really gain the attention of the audience, and I want you to hear this for your first speech that's coming up, you'll want to gain the attention of the audience in your you speech. And there are different ways of doing that, or having attention getters, if you will. One of those first ways is to use a quote. You can use a quote in order to get the attention of your audience. Each man is an island unto himself, and then begin your speech. Use a quote. You can tell a joke, an appropriate joke for your speech and the subject matter of your speech. You can ask a big question that encompasses the topic of your speech, potentially even the areas you'll address in the body of your speech. You can ask a big question like, where did the chicken come from? And then you can bolster that with other points of information within the speech. That's a big question. You can start with small questions. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Where did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? You can have a series of questions that you ask in order to gain the attention of your audience. You can make a bold statement in your introduction that centers the audience on the topic you're presenting and maybe makes them think grander than what they would have on that topic by a bold statement in your introduction. Also, a story can be given, especially a story that is carries the principles or points us in the direction of your topic and what you're going to be talking about in the body of your speech. So each of these things, the quote, the joke, a big question, a series of small questions, a bold statement, or a story, any of these things are really good attention getters in an introduction to any speech you may give, or you can actually listen for what type of attention getter you might be hearing in any speech you are listening to. So there is the introduction of your speech with the attention getter um, pointing us directly to the topic of your speech and then telling us kind of what's to come. The body of the speech is next, and the parts of the speech. So there's the introduction, and then there's the body of the speech. You need to know that at least 75% of your speech will be the body of the speech. It is really divided, the body, into 3 to 5 points. Because of the duration of the speeches, we're asking you to give us and to perform for us in this semester. 4 to 6 minutes, I believe, is your time frame, 4 to 5. 3 points will be really sufficient to have the information you need to tell us about your point, to convince us about something, to entertain us in your group speech. About 3 points really is enough. And it also provides enough space between to fill that, where 4 or 5 points, you may not be able to get enough information in to verify what you're saying, to make you a credible person in speaking on that topic. Where 3 points, that will allow you to have good researched information and a good amount of it for each point to even establish you as an expert, at least at this point, on that topic. So the body will be 75% of your speech. It will have 3 to 5 points. And each point in that speech does need to be clearly stated and, of course, supported by your research. So the parts again: the introduction, the body that contains 3 to 5 points, and then the conclusion of your speech. And really, in your conclusion, you're going to review what you've told us before, and you're going to provide for us closure for your speech with a strong final statement. And that will help us to identify the end of your speech, and then we'll know when it's over, when to uh, stop listening for any further information. You'll have a nice final statement. For those who would be on the ground, you would want a final statement that was strong enough that any audience in a class would know when to applaud for the speaker as a gesture of appreciation for the time that they gave to give a speech. So those are the different parts of speech really that we need to set the groundwork for any of the speeches you'll be giving this semester: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. If this sounds like kind of like writing a paper, it is a little bit like that, a lot like that. However, the goal for public speaking is to make any paper you might write into, of course, a speech, an extemporaneous speech. Not that you would read your paper aloud. That's one thing that we will look at in looking at the types of speeches. But in this class, we're looking for extemporaneous public speaking. And that is when you really know the information and your topic, the subject matter, well enough that you can conversationally share that with your audience. So that is the process and the progress we're hoping to, and I am hoping to accomplish with you as we go along in this semester, to be able to share a topic extemporaneously so that we are able to hear you conversationally and take it in a little bit more easily than if you were in a monotone voice reading a paper to us. That's the goal: extemporaneous public speaking. So we've talked about the parts of speech. Now let's look at the types of speeches. And we're going to begin with the informative speech. And again, this can allude back to a book report. It can be an oral report, an informative speech. It can be a lecture, such as what you're seeing now. And it can also be a part of a workshop in a seminar on anything that you might go to. So for your work and for your church, anything like that, and any kind of information given is an informative speech. It's designed to explain, instruct, define different areas for you, to clarify anything, to demonstrate, and to teach. And I'm on the teaching aspect of that, kind of explaining things out as well. Also, you may, in an informative speech, if we look forward into the semester on an informative speech, you can look at informing us about a person, a place, a time in history. And I gave an informative speech about the country or the continent of Australia. That is of great interest to me, and it was at the time. I really enjoyed that. And I have been in different places in my life, and I enjoy speaking about um, three aspects of the place that I have visited. I have been to Vietnam, and to talk about three aspects of my trip to Vietnam would be informing you about the country of Vietnam. And so, um, informative speeches can be just giving you information. They can be really, as I was talking about, a demonstration. So, I have in former classes had individuals bring pans and show how to do different, um, cook different things. I have seen or heard of even how to fold a sheet, different how-tos that can run within the 5-minute time frame are welcome as well. That's informing us about that topic. So we want to keep the audience's attention in informative speeches. However, we want to know you to know that with any speech, and especially the you speech, you're going to be this very first speech that you give is the basic informative speech, and you'll be using three different items in this speech. You'll have three visual aids in the speech. And so in the informative speech, we're talking about different types of speeches. And the you speech is a type of informative speech. You'll use three different visual aids. And we'll talk more about the you speech later. What we want you to know, and what I want you to know, is to use those mindfully. They are good, visual aids are good for keeping the audience's attention, but they can be distracting if they're used too grandly. They can drop the audience's attention from what you're saying to where they're just staring at what you brought. So make sure that you use your visual aid mindfully as you inform us about the three different areas in the you speech. And again, we'll go over that more a little later. The informative speech can be used in conferences, in educational institutions like this right now, and also informative speeches are really known in workplaces as well. Any presentation that you might give on the this past quarter's earnings, or um, um, fire prevention or fire safety, anything like that is an informative speech that you're giving in your workplace, at your church, even in your home. You can give a how-to to a relative about cooking or making the bed. Anything in that capacity is an informative speech. So that's just one type of speech that we use and give in our lives. Another type of speech that you will be giving actually in this course, but also that you might hear and you do hear in your life is the persuasive speech. And the persuasive speech can be seen in debates, sales presentations, sermons, any of those types of public speaking are persuasive. In other words, they're meant to really influence or convince or motivate the audience in some way to change their mind, to take an action. So that is the whole really purpose of a persuasive speech. They really must inspire purposeful emotions. That's the impetus for a persuasive speech. The audience, their entertainment is really not thought of in a persuasive speech, as long as the person is paying attention and um, they can be moved in some way. That's more persuasion. Another type of speech is the evocative speech. And the evocative speech really entertains, it inspires, it helps the listeners to celebrate or bond or commemorate an event. An evocative speech could be a roast, with someone, on someone, for someone. You've probably seen them on Netflix or Prime or wherever roasts are broadcast. So a roast is more of an evocative speech. Any of the Golden Globes, the Oscars, when the presenters, or not the presenters, but the host comes out, they are kind of giving evocative mini speeches, um, or roasts for the people who are there. Also, it could be seen an evocative speech at a wedding, some kind of event, family gathering in some way where we are remembering people, commemorating people, or telling others how special or what they've meant in our lives. That's also an evocative speech. Another type of speech is the impromptu speech. And they require you to speak really in the spur of the moment with little or no preparation. And I'm going to go back to the band app and the activities that we'll be doing on the band app throughout the semester. That is really, it's really kind of the essence of an impromptu speech. Uh, I'm not intending you to spend a lot of time researching any of that. I really do and have enjoyed thinking of those as a fun uh, but good opportunity to practice public speaking skills by being able to collect your thoughts and put them in a logical order, and then be able to express that during the activity and answering the activity question. And some of those questions could be, tell me 3 things about the best place you've ever visited, or tell me 3 things about your favorite holiday. And so um, things along that, in that order, will be kind of the activities, and that will be expected for you to complete with the band app. And these again are a very much an example of an impromptu speech. You can really be successful with this speech in 2 to 3 minutes. It shouldn't take long. 2 to 3 little points that you make um, while you're thinking about, and I'm giving you three, tell me 3 things. And so it's not meant to be too burdensome on you, but again, allow you to practice a skill set of collecting your thoughts and being able to share them on the Band app. Of course, you could do some kind of research if you wanted on any of that, but the goal of any impromptu speech is for you to be able to think on your feet 2 to 5 minutes through different points and be able to present them. The storytelling speech is the last of the types of speeches I'm going to give you, and it is one that enhances your cultural identity. The storytelling has been a part of the world since before the invention of paper. Histories, family histories, national histories were expressed through the oral tradition of storytelling. And so that is a type of public speaking as well. It can really entertain the listener and be amusing or heartfelt in storytelling. And so that is, yes, another form. And it really combines informative and evocative speeches because you're um, appealing to people by giving them the information potentially of their ancestors or any of those peoples who have gone before. So the different types of speeches again: the informative speech, the persuasive speech, the evocative speech, the impromptu speech, and the storytelling speech. All good labels for things that now it may come to your mind when you hear something as you go about your day. I always like to say that public speaking classes really put labels on what we just typically do throughout our day, but we recognize them more with these different labels that we can have for them. And I enjoy that, and it makes me pause for a minute to think, this is a part of our daily lives as we go through each day. So that was a quick overview, really, of public speaking. The different parts of the speech, the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. We haven't even addressed the transitions that go in, but talked about those three main parts of a speech. And we've looked at and I've talked about the different types of speeches, of which you'll be doing an informative speech. This semester, you'll start with the basic informative speech of the U speech, and then a more advanced informative speech, group presentation that will take into account and maybe combine a few of these types of speeches, public speeches, and then a persuasive speech as well in this semester. So the informative speech, the persuasive speech, the evocative speech, the impromptu speech, and the storytelling speech are all different types of public speaking that happen all the time in our world. So I not only wanted to give you this overview of the public speaking, I also wanted to address the U speech in particular. This first speech coming up, it is a short speech. The time limit is 2 minutes, and the U speech will incorporate 3 visual aids. So you'll need to begin the speech with an attention getter, and we addressed that, what different attention getters you can use. And then you will need to bring an item that reflects your past, an item that reflects who you are today, and an item that is symbolic or is something that you have that is for the future, that is you in the future, who you see yourself to be in the future. So you will want to, during the you speech, have an introduction that is more than, hi, my name is, or I will show you 3 things about me, but that does incorporate, we're beginning to try to incorporate like the attention getting part of a public speech, of an informative public speech. So please try to do something a little more than just, hello, my name is, and then going into your 3 parts. Use one of the attention getters I mentioned earlier to help you start. And then the body of the speech will be, again, you're going to go from past to present to future. So it should flow very logically. And then that in of itself is just very um, sorted in its own right. So you don't have to worry about where you put certain information, past, present, future. And then the conclusion of your you speech, it should be well thought out and clear, and again, provide us with a good ending point that we know you have finished the speech about yourself. It needs to be 2 minutes in length. It can go from 1 minute 45 seconds. If you go to 1 minute 45 seconds or above, you're good to go. You have a grace period of 1 minute 45 seconds to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And just make sure you're right in that window of the speech for you to get full credit for your speech. A lot of what you're going to be graded on is delivery and your time, to make sure you make the time either 1:45 up to 2:15, but right around that 2-minute mark. Time is important to everyone. We want to respect everyone's time, and especially in speech making, to hold within the boundaries of any given time. At work, you're only given 5 minutes to update your boss or to provide around a table if you're at work. Um, Anywhere you have um, tend to have an expected, assumed, or even told amount of time to fit your piece of the information, piece of any kind of information in. And so we want to really be practicing how to keep within the time bounds of the public speeches that you'll be public speaking and the speeches you'll be giving in the course. You will not be allowed to use any note cards in the you speech. It needs to be very, and again, we're practicing extemporaneous speaking. So no note cards will be allowed for the you speech. You don't need to do any research for the speech. It is about yourself, and you should be and are the expert on you and your past, your present, and your future. You do need those 3 items to provide as we talk about you in the you speech. Please do not memorize this speech, but speak extemporaneously as you deliver this speech. And go over it and over it and over it. Practice and practice and practice out loud. It seems very unnatural I feel like talking to this computer seems very unnatural as well. But we're in a very technological age. I know who I'm speaking to, and everyone speaks into their phones, the cameras of their phones for whatever social media they're a part of, you're a part of. So um, please just speak well, know the information you're giving on the U-Speech, and let us know. Let us know who you are. Finally, really, I'm wanting to give you some helps for your delivery, even beginning with the U-Speech on the Band app, all of those different areas and opportunities that you have to help yourself to practice delivery of any type of speech or in your public speaking. First, I want us to talk about how we feel about ourselves and how we're even dressed. Dress up for your speeches. I would say dress fully. I am fully dressed to do this lecture online because it just helps me feel put together, helps my mind to be not just so fully casual that I can't kind of think clearly. And so I highly encourage you to consider how you dress and what you wear. That can also help with fidgeting in public speaking. If you are wearing something that is too casual or too informal, you'll slouch more. You really won't want to, it's like you're lounging on your couch at home. And that really is not. In fact, it is not public speaking. Public speaking is one where thought is involved and logic and formulating your thoughts. And I find that the way we dress and present ourselves to others helps with our confidence and can also help with the confidence of those who are watching or listening to us, to think, oh, this person cares and they are presenting information that maybe I'll check on, but is credible. And so think of the way you dress, not only in how you are presented or seen, but also in terms of fidgeting with things that don't maybe fit well. That can be a distraction in public speaking and your delivery. Also, twisting rings around is a part that we need to be very aware of and not do in public speaking. Holding a pen in your hand can seem more fidgety or nervous than deliberate. So no pens or pencils in hand. Be very careful, not for the U-Speech, but in any later speech, if you're using cards, that you're not holding them up and around your face or anything, um, because that can be distracting. Playing with your hair is distracting. Touching your nose, anything like that is distracting. The point of the speech for those 5 minutes is for you to be clear in giving the information that you have on the topic and not distract your listeners with the delivery that you're going to be nervous. You're going to be nervous, but to practice and practice and be aware as you can of the nervous habits and things that you might want to fall into while you're giving your speech. to try to work past that in your practice and let people tell you if they notice something. Not only are there physical things that might be going on, touching your face, um, fluffing your hair, messing with your hair, your shirt, anything like that, your pants, putting your hands in your pants pockets while you speak. Even you can see me even in this shot and where my hands are, and if it's hopefully it's not too distracting, but it's more uh, intentional movement of the hands than nervous distraction. Uh, yes, you do not want to put your hands in your pockets either while you're giving a speech. That can be distracting, and it also can interrupt any kind of natural gesture that you might be wanting to use in your speech. So some of those things are really important. Most of those things are really important. Also, you don't want to lean as you're speaking. Please note this. Please stand in any of your speeches, delivering any of your speeches, even online for me. Stand for the you speech, for the informative, persuasive. In the group speaking, the group speech may be a little different. We'll see how that gets filmed and uploaded, but that might be a little bit different. Might be a panel where people are sitting, but understand that it needs to not be distracting, however you use it. But in the single speeches that you do, please be standing and standing upright, not leaning on anything, not putting your hands in your pockets, not fidgeting, and just be deliberate in your actions. Also, in later speeches, you'll be able to use uh, cards, use your index cards for your speeches, but 90% of the time, I need your eyes up toward me and the camera rather than reading your speech, which again is what we're hoping uh, that you will not be doing. What I'm hoping you will be working and practicing beforehand so that we see your eyes 90% of the time. And then, of course, to occasionally glance down on your note cards for any um, keywords that can remind you of your points, anything like that, signposts for any transitions between points, anything like that is fine. Just mostly that we would see your eyes. In a typical public speaking class, there would be, of course, an audience in front of you. And so that's definitely important. That separates the public speaking class from, say, an English class where you're reading or giving an oral report on a paper or reading your paper. You will not be reading a paper in this class. You will be giving a public speech, informative or persuasive. And so eye contact is really vital, of course. And you would, if you were in front of an audience, and even if you were around a table, say at home, in your business, at church, wherever, you'll want to separate out that audience into three potentially sections, one, to your right, one ahead of you, and one to your left. And I always just try to find someone who looks friendly, to look into their eyes. Somebody's always said, look at their forehead, but I always can tell when someone's looking at my forehead. Anyway, it's uncomfortable. So try to find those people that you find a friendly face and maybe refer to them throughout your speech, but try to cover your audience with your eyes as you can, and that your audience notices, and they will be they should be encouraging in most areas. Okay, let me think if there's anything. We've hit the overview of public speaking and gone through the parts and the types of speeches. I've talked to you about the U speech and the requirements there. I've also talked to you about delivery tips today. If there are any questions that you may have, oh, we've also talked about the Band app a little bit. And so hopefully within the first week or so of class, I will have something posted for you to complete. Please do that, and let's keep going, and I'm looking forward to seeing your faces and hearing all of your speeches throughout the semester. I should be uploading a few more videos to maybe dive a bit deeper into some of these topics. If you have any questions, absolutely feel free to contact me during my office hours. They should be in the syllabus, and or you can email me on my Midland College email as well. I guess I will say until next time, cheers.